Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of PMBOK Guide 8 series on Conversation with Shenila. I am Shenila Makhani, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you joining us today. First of all, thank you for taking the time to be here. Whether you are joining us live or watching this conversation later, I truly appreciate you being part of this learning journey. When PMI released the PMBOK Guide 8th edition, it wasn't simply an update to well-known guide. It reflected an evolution in how we think about projects, leaderships, value, and value delivery, to be very honest. Throughout this series, our objective is not to summarize the chapters or explain the terminologies. Our goal is much more meaningful. We want to understand the thinking behind these principles. Why were they introduced? What challenges are they trying to solve? And most importantly, how can project be successful with the outcome or the value delivery? And what the challenges we will going to face while trying to solve this. So in episode 1, we explored the broader vision of PMBOK 8 guide and discussed the key changes shaping the future of project management. In episode 2, we focus on the value delivery, a principle that reminds us that successful projects are not measured solely by scope, schedule, or budget, but by the value they create for the organizations and the stakeholders. And today we are going to continue this journey by exploring another principle that I personally believe is fundamental to modern project management. Adopt a holistic view. At first glance, it sounds like a simple statement, but when you begin to unpack it, you realize it challenges the way many of us have been trained to manage projects. To help us explore today's principle, I am delighted to welcome back someone many of you already know from our previous episodes. Joining us today is Atiq Rehman, a seasoned project management professional with extensive experience in leading projects, mentoring professionals, and helping organizations improve their project delivery. What I particularly appreciate about Atiq's approach is his ability to bridge theory with practice. He doesn't simply explain the concept, but he helps us understand how we apply them in the real project environments. So Atiq, welcome back to Conversation with Shenila. It's wonderful to have you with us again.
Thank you, Shenila. Thank you very much. And thank you for such a good remarks for me. You made my day today.
You will going to hear this many times ahead.
Yes, I'm expecting that.
Well, thank you,
Anyways,
Atiq.
thank,
I'm really looking
thank you.
forward to today's discussion. As always, rather than delivering a lecture, I would like to today's discussion to be an open conversation. So our conversation where we know we can explore the ideas and challenge assumptions and hopefully leave our audience with practical insights they can apply immediately. So let's begin. I
Yeah.
think I would like to begin with the principle itself, right? The word adopt a holistic view. They are simple, they are concise, but I think they can also mean different things to different people. Some may interpret this as system thinking, other may associate it with strategic alignment, and some may think about stakeholder engagement, and others may think about the organization's value. So I would like to begin with a very simple question to you that when you hear the phrase adopt a holistic view, what does it mean to you personally?
Yeah. Um, this phrase is so much meaningful. This is something which has changed the way the project manager used to look at the projects. Um, you're right, absolutely right, that everyone is having a different interpretation of this phrase. Almost everyone talks the same way, but understanding holistic view uh, is I think we have to discuss few things in depth. First of all, that in the eighth edition, the latest one, it's one of the core um, six principles. I mean, one of the core principle which we have now. And the very important thing is that this principle, like the value delivery principle, also is directly dealing with the business environment. So when I'm saying directly dealing with the business environment, so the impact of this principle is similar like the impact of the value delivery principle, the value delivery that we discussed. Remember the shift from 8% to 26%. So this principle is also contributing there from 8% questions to 26%. So
Mm.
this is one of the key elements you can understand that how important is the holistic view that we have to adopt in project management. The other important thing is that uh, what the standard is asking you to, as a project manager, to think. Uh, I mean, you need to adopt system thinking. System thinking to view the project as an interconnected part of the larger organization, which we, as project manager, were not used to practice. We were fully focused on project, achieving the deadlines, competing with the deadlines, completing the deliverables, trying to finish within the project budget. All these things that we were, it means that we were working in silos. We were least bothered about what is happening in the organization. We were least bothered about that how this if project is contributing the whole organization strategically. So now the standard is asking you to have system thinking, means that you need to understand from the perspective that how this project is contributing to the whole organization. So it's like a reverse engineering, I would say, uh, because the effect this project is the project that you are doing is ultimately impacting the overall organization and it's contributing in some strategic objectives. So this is what the holistic view is all about. Instead of just tracking a narrow list of tasks, the holistic view focuses or forces you to consider how a single project decision ripples across the enterprise. It ripples how a single project can make the difference. So, so system thinking means viewing the project components, the portfolios, the program, operations, and external business environment as deeply interconnected pieces. So you need to understand when you are trying to understand the project, you have to understand the whole overall environment of the project, where the project exists, what exactly is happening, why this project exists, what the value this project is contributing to the overall environment. Uh, then another perspective that we have to look into this is, let me, how would I address this? That second and third order effect. This second and third order effect is like predicting the cascading impacts of change before taking an action. So it's purely prevention. I mean, it's like if I say something to you, Shenila, before opening my mouth, I must think that how it would be impacted on our relations as as colleagues. So you think over that whenever you are in a project, how you have to, I mean, how any action can create an impact on the overall organization. So, for instance, how schedule delay in team A can impact the resources constraints and market relevance on team B. So this is what the another perspective or another element that being a project manager we have to look into. And the third and very important element is the governance alignment. Uh, Project activities to the corporate strategy. You have to see your activities, um, that how cross-domain coordinations and value streams are connected, how all these things are happening. So you need to connect your project with uh, corporate strategy. So these are the three major elements that when you look into the holistic view. So if I summarize what a holistic view is that just looking around, I mean, around the and see how the interconnected part of the organizations are impacting on are impacted by the project, I would say. Instead of how they are impacting, we used to see that how they are impacting us, but now how our organization or the higher hierarchy, or I would say the other part of the organization are impacted by our project, whether the project is small or big. That's there is no question of it.
Okay.
So is it clear?
Yeah, makes sense. So, I think you have
Okay.
already touched on something, that I think deserve a deeper discussion. That if PMI chose to include this principle in the PMBOK Guide 8th edition, there must have been a reason, right? It wasn't added simply because it sounds appealing. It addresses a genuine challenge faced by today's project professionals. So, I would like us to spend the next few minutes exploring why the principle matters, right? That in your opinion, what do you think PMI, why do you think, that PMI have introduced, adopt a holistic view as one of the guiding principle of PMBOK Guide 8? Was there a gap in the way many organizations have traditionally approached project management?
No, it's not the gap. It's I'm pretty focused on the project manager. I'm not talking about the organization itself
Hmm.
because now the project manager's role is not just a project manager. He becomes a strategic partner.
Hmm.
So the significant portion of this I mean this the or the significance of this change is that they want to check your ability, that how you look holistically about the business strategy.
Hmm.
They want to see your capability or your I would say uh, ability to see the external compliances, that how the project is compliant and are you focused on those areas or not. And they want to know that the organizational value is created by this project or not. And instead, someone else I mean, would look into it. You yourself, as a project manager, is now liable or required to look into these areas by yourself. In the past, I mean, the program manager used to look into the benefit realization. That was his main job. And
Mm,
in the portfolio level, we used to look into see the value delivery system of the overall the value delivery from the project, and that's what we used to do. And now the shift is has increased the burden on the I would say the project manager. So, impact and the shift in the business environment domain is there due to this, as I just mentioned
mm,
earlier, from 8% to 26%.
mm,
So, I'm focusing on the PMP perspective also,
mm,
because this is what we need to look into it. Uh, and from the questions perspective, a lot of changes will come. Uh, this is and then the shift in thinking would be there. So if I just summarize this shift or this
mm,
holistic approach in PMBOK, there are three major areas. One is the mindset uh, shift, the boundaries, and the problem solving ability. So when it comes to the mindset, in the previous version, especially in the sixth version, uh, the mindset was process driven and tactical. We were very much focused on the processes and tactical level. Now the PMBOK 8th edition asks you to have a mindset which is principle driven and systematic. So this is a major shift. Then, when we say the boundaries, in the previous version, I would put a reference of sixth edition more
mm,
on that. That on time, on budget, within the scope, that's what the constraints were, and we were focused on. Now, the shift is for the boundary, maximizing the value and strategy. This is the major shift in PMBOK 8th edition. So uh, if I'm just trying to compare the traditional versus the holistic approach.
mm,
So the last one would be from the problem solving aspect. We used to follow change control for the immediate assets. And now uh, analyzing cascading effect on portfolios and operations is required. So this is again so complicated, especially for those who will be attempting the PMP exam, because the evaluating the cascading impact, the effect on portfolios and operations while you are reviewing a question
mm,
or a PMP question is really, I would say, so much demanding for someone who's not having good experience. Uh, I mean, okay, the person who have worked, who have good experience and exposed to the organizations, can think from all these perspective and can understand. But the fresh ones, I would say the those who have little experience, like 2, 3 years, 4 years experience, looking at the from the this perspective would be tough call. So um, yes, what do you think?
Yeah, I
I'm
think
gonna stop.
no, I think a holistic view is important, right? Because initially people were looking at the project, or we can say it was an understanding that we look at the project in the isolation, right? And in my opinion, when we are adapting a holistic view, nothing operates in isolation. Things are connected. There is an integrated project management From the business perspective, things are connected and impact has to be analyzed before making the decisions, right? So it's very important to have the holistic view. But people also misinterpret it might be in this way that, we have to do all the things together. It's not, doesn't work in that way. Looking at the holistic view doesn't mean that you have to work all the things at the same time, but you need to be organized. But your perspective, your vision needs to be broadened to do the
True.
impact analysis and to make the alignment with the organization strategy or the business strategy. Because every project is related to certain strategy, organization, or the business wants to achieve, right? And projects are the means to achieve those results. So I think that's
True.
my 2 cents into it. So
True, very true.
so thank you, Atiq. I think we have done a great job of helping our audience understand why this principle matter. But one thing I
Mhm.
always try to remember is that learning only becomes valuable when it changes the way we work. So project managers right now who are listening us in the live conversation are probably thinking that this makes perfect sense. But what does it actually look like in a real project? So I would like us to spend next few minutes moving from theory to practice, so people would have the better understanding of this principle. So based on your own experience, can you share an example of a project where adapting a holistic view made a significant difference actually? Matlab, perhaps a
Mm.
situation where looking beyond the immediate issue changed the outcome of the project.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, for example, it was engineering project management. Um, I would say the project was to automate a manufacturing assembly line.
Okay.
So the project is delivered under budget and machinery runs 50% faster. So that was the situation. Uh, and traditionally, it was a good thing that you done a great job. Too much appreciation you can have because you completed the project under budget and 50% faster than expected. But in the traditional approach, so the PM hands over the machinery to the factory floor, closes the project, and celebrates the technical success. That is traditional way of working. But now, in a holistic approach, which we discussed just a while ago, second order effect um, is that if PMI, I mean, if this is the current situation and you have to look into it from holistic perspective, so project manager has to realize that the faster assembly line will create a massive bottleneck um, in the packaging and shipping department down the line. So they would have to work with the operations manager to adjust warehousing staffing before the new machinery go lives. So it's not that the project ends when you complete the tactical part or the process the what you were supposed to do. You have to look into it that how it's going to impact the completed this delivery line or this would impact the rest of the manufacturing. This is what we have to look into it. I can recall one more, which the case study I studied recently.
Okay.
This case study was about medical device project in and it was behind schedule. This project was behind schedule, and the PM skipped a what you call mandatory internal usability testing phases to launch the project on time and stay within budget. This is what the normal
Okay.
practice is. that we
Hmm.
cut off many
Nothing
things
new.
because to yes, just to have the completion, which is the traditional approach.
Hmm.
And I mean, if it is in the traditional approach, the PM would cut off the usability testing and all these things to hit the
Hmm.
deadlines. But in a holistic approach, uh, you need to have a governance alignment.
Yes. Yeah.
PM should evaluate the company's core strategic goal, which is zero customer complaint. So if you cut off the mandatory testings, what would happen? The great risk of releasing a frustrating product is there. It might harm the brand in the longer, I mean, it would impact the reputation of the company, the organization. So the PM should present the delay to the steering committee, the reasons, and explain the extending the timeline projects company to the company, how it values to the company, instead of just cutting off and I mean achieving the project deadlines or achieving
Hmm.
completing the project in. So this is how I mean I mean, the thing is, if the tagline here is that the project manager has to look into the long-term business value
Yes.
before delivering, before doing anything. So his role is not ending upon delivering the hardcore project. His role continues even after delivery. That how it would create impact. So this is another. I feel I like this case study because in real the holistic. I mean, we as project managers we never think in this perspective. I mean we don't feel that we are credible or we are liable to look into these areas. But now the standard is asking you to. Uh, you have strategic value alignment when you
Hmm.
are doing a
Absolutely.
project.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
uh, there's a thoughtful discussion I think we are having. So one thing I really appreciate throughout today's conversation, Atiq, is that we have moved beyond simply defining the principle. We have explored why it matters. We have talked about system thinking. We are discussing stakeholder relationships, decision making, and the value creation. And perhaps I think most importantly, we have seen that adapting a holistic view is not about adding another process to our projects, right? It's about changing the
Obviously.
lens, which you talk about, right? The long term value delivery instead of the
Absolutely.
short term, right? Through which we see our projects. So many of our viewers today are practicing project managers, right? Some are leading transformation initiatives, others are managing smaller projects, and some have decades of experience, right? And others are just, beginning their career. So if there was one piece of advice, right, I would go towards my signature question to you, which I always ask, right? That if there was one piece of advice you would give every project manager about adopting a holistic view, what would it be?
Before answering this, just want to add few things for the PMPs, the future
Hmm.
PMPs.
Hmm.
The impact of holistic view, as we mentioned, from 8% to 26%, the business
Hmm.
environment. We discussed the same thing for the value delivery also.
Hmm.
So what we expect that longer multi-layered case studies rather than simple ones. This is something. So the aspirants must start. I mean, practicing reading. They must have patience to read longer case studies and
Hmm.
grabbing the keywords from those case studies while they are solving the problems. So this is one thing. You would have isolated process questions,
Hmm.
uh, exams scenarios frequently describe situations
Hmm.
involving multiple cross-functional teams, vague root
Hmm.
causes, or mid-execution regulatory or external shifts. So there can be these other things. Uh, this- uh, so I mean, this is going to be a major shift uh, in exam that we are expecting, or is already there. Now, your question was for the. I think I have given the answer of your
All
question
the
for
advices you have already
the.
given.
Yes. So the tip I have given for the exam is similar
Okay.
to the question that you asked for. Can you kindly repeat the question? I forgot the
It's
question
perfectly
anyways.
fine. You have given a lot of advices. And no worries, I will again come back to the signature question right before we conclude because I would like to ask what has now become my favorite question in the PMBOK Kite 8 series. That imagine someone joins today's conversation late. They only have 1 minute to listen before they have to leave. If you would leave them with one message about adopt a holistic view, what would you want them to remember?
Yes, for every action that you take in the project, uh, assess or evaluate the impact after completion of it, or the impact of this, or we talk about the ripple effect it would create for the whole organization. It's similar like that I mean, one of the sibling, if of the family is not good and correct or have done something wrong, it affects the whole family.
Yeah.
So, although it is an isolated incident, but it affects the whole family. So, it's like the projects are the siblings of the organization. Or if anything wrong happen, it would create effect throughout the organization till on the top. So this is what I would say. So now you have to look into the project from this perspective.
Thank you. I couldn't think of a better way to
You're
conclude
welcome.
today's discussion. So, before we close, here is one reflection I would like all of you to leave with. Today's principle is not asking us to do more, it's asking us to think differently. Every project manager has tools and techniques, but what often distinguish exceptional project managers is their ability to see the relationships, understand the context, and making decisions that create lasting value. I think that's what adopting a holistic view means to me, and that's my opinion again, right? So, Adi, thank you
Very
once
true.
again
Very
for
true.
joining me today. Your practical example, thoughtful reflection, and ability to simplify an important principle that made today's conversation incredibly valuable. So I'm sure our audience has gained the insights that they can apply not only in their projects but also in the way they think about project management. So it has been a pleasure having you back on Conversation with Shenila Atiq.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Great. And to everyone who joined us today, thank you for spending your time with us. If today's conversation helped you see project management from a different perspective, we would love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. We would love to continue the conversation. If you find today's conversation valuable, please share it with your colleagues and friends and your network because these conversations are meant to spark learning, reflection, and better project leaderships. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep connecting the dots. Because great project managers don't just manage projects, they understand the bigger picture. Thank you for joining us on Conversation with Shanila. Take care, stay curious, and I'll see you in our next episode. Bye and take care.
Thank you very much. Thanks.